he immediately burst out, I didn't say you was combative. Like, but you did. But then later on, 2 seconds later, you said it. So you said it. Oh my gosh. So then, y'all, they get into a whole back and forth, but it was mainly him because Jessica was sitting across calm. She never escalated. He was escalated the whole time. She never escalated, which shows she's not combative. Okay, she never got into it as he got into it. Okay, so hey everybody, welcome back to the Brenda Yvonne channel. You know I'm your girl Brenda Yvonne. Here on my channel we do fun reviews, recaps, and discussions of all our favorite shows, y'all. This video we are talking Ready to Love on Friday night show, y'all. I felt like something was on my lip. Anyway, this is season 8, Down in Dallas, y'all. Episode 10, Getaway Part 2. Okay, before we get into anything, I really need y'all's help. I'm trying to grow this channel. You know, the algorithm is not doing what it needs to be done, so I need y'all to hit that subscribe button, okay? So you could get all the notifications of when I upload new content. Comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Like the video, share the video, and watch it through to the end, okay? That's all you gotta do. Anyway, let's get into the episode. I will say this episode was definitely more entertaining than last week. It had some snooze fest moments too, but it definitely was some topics of discussion for sure. So we're gonna get into it. The episode picks up where they left off last week with Sierra and Jessica being up for elimination. Maurier said, Sierra, you are not ready to love. Sierra was happy to go home, and we were happy to see her leave. She needed to go, okay? Sierra had no connections, and her man was not on the show. Frankly, nobody likes anybody on this show. There's no compatibility. They could throw this season away. I hope the second season of Dallas is much, much better. And can we get out the South? Like, can we come to California? Can we go to the East Coast? Like, can we go somewhere else? Anywho, then Jessica and Janelle. So Deputy Tommy was like, okay, y'all need to continue to, you know, grow your connections. Blah. Y'all know how he give his spiel. So anyway, Jessica and Janelle was like, oh, combative. Like, oh, what? Like, who? They said all that, you know, you difficult and all that. And so they was like, what? And so everybody went in the house. So Maurier feels bad because he delivered the message, okay? So Chris was like, oh, Maurier, how you feeling? And so Maurier's like, yeah, it was rough. And so then Janelle was like, why are we checking on Maurier? What about Jessica? And so Chris was like, well, we need to check on everybody. They both went through something. And so Janelle was like, you know, I love y'all here. And trust me, I'm not going to try to take up the cross for Jessica. However, as, you know, black men, y'all, I'm seeing how y'all moving and y'all are not covering us. And that's what I've been saying from the beginning of this process. Now, as much as I do not like Miss Janelle, I had to agree with her on this moment that the men did not cover the women in this whole process. They wanted to be chased. And so I definitely agreed with her when she said all what she said, okay? Anyway, so Jessica was like, listen, like in this moment, you know, since I'm so combative, I'm gonna choose not to even say nothing at all. And so Janelle's thing is like, for, you know, you as black men to say that a black woman is combative, to put that label on us, you know, that is dangerous, that's very harmful, that's not good. And so they're like, who would say that? So Jessica and Janelle was like, who said it? Who said it? Who said it? So they wasn't saying it that deeply. But anyway, so everybody piping up like, nah, I didn't say it. That's not the consensus of the group. Phil said he ain't trying to throw nobody in the bus, but that is not the consensus of the group. Like, everybody don't feel that way. I haven't had that experience with you. Maurier said, you know, he hasn't had that experience with Jessica either. Maurier said he felt very uncomfortable because he knows that Chris is the one that said it. And they played the flashbacks where he has said multiple times that he felt that Jessica could be combative, right? He said it multiple occasions. So Maurier said he didn't want to be no snitch. Ain't about to be no snitch up in there. And he didn't want to be the one to say who said it, but he was hoping the person that said it would come forward. So he said he couldn't even be in the room. So he left and went to the kitchen, okay, and got himself a snack or a beverage or something. So then Jessica was like, the thing is like, you know, I don't understand why that label would be put on me. Like, who have I been combative with? Who have I gotten into it with? Like, I don't understand. Like, that is not who I am at my core. And so Quentin was like, no, it wasn't right to say, like, you're right. Like, I don't know where Maurier went, but like, that should not have been said. That has not been my experience. And I feel like Quentin was popping up because of Janelle. But I'm glad he did say something nevertheless. And so they were just kind of like, okay, it is what it is. Chris, he was mum's the word, and he was like, well, you know, people's experiences of people is what it is, and we just gotta move on, and that's my 2 cents I'm gonna say. So Jessica said in her confessional, like, she knows that Maurier didn't, like, mean to say, she might have said it later, but basically she knows that Chris is the one that said it, and basically he was the one looking at her in the face and didn't admit to it, but she knows that he has said it. So everybody dispersed, and so I think Maurier went in the shower. Cat come in the men's room. Now, why they got bunk beds, I don't know. I hope this was just for a filming purpose to have them all in one room, but it do look like they was living up in there. And I'm not gonna go on nobody's trip to sleep in nobody's bunk bed at 35 and plus. I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. So they better than me. I would have been like, y'all gonna have to put me at the hotel next door or something. So anyway, Kat was looking for Maurier. She said, it's like a dorm, it's like the frat club, and how's everyone doing? And she was like telling Maurier, like, yeah, I know eliminations can be hard. And I was like, girl, you should have left when Sierra left and caught that ride. Like, why are you still there, Kat? Why? Kat over there fishing for connections, okay, real hard. You could have left. Anywho, the guys are kind of talking to Maurier. Maurier feels bad about, you know, because Quentin's checking on Maurier. Maurier feels bad about what happened, and Quentin was saying, like, yeah, you know, Phil made some comment about, you know, sometimes you say one word and it could be like a left hook punch that you wasn't ready for. I was like, what? I was like, me and I got talking sports. So anywho, Quentin said, I know, you know, we all were saying that in the men's lounge in the deliberations. However, I think because you're one of her top connections, she is expecting you to word it in a different way and maybe say it differently. And my thing is, okay, Quentin, you just told on everybody and on Chris, basically, because y'all know y'all have discussed Jessica being combative. And Chris did say it. Now, I'm not sure if other men agreed with him or not. I can't remember that per se. But I was like, okay, y'all know y'all said it, and then y'all track like y'all didn't say it. So anywho, my light went off, y'all. Anyway, that light is broken. So then he was telling Maurier, like, yeah, maybe you need to, you know, apologize, whatever. And Maurier said, yeah, I'm gonna, you know, apologize and make it right. And he feels bad that he wish he would have worded it in a different way and maybe not repeat what Chris said. I didn't understand why Maurier had to catch the stray, so I get it. You know, he was the messenger. He was the one that had to go up there and say who was ready to love and not. And yeah, maybe as her top connection, he could have worded it differently, or maybe he should have said, like, you know, the men feel you're combative. Now, I don't feel that way personally. I haven't had that experience with you. However, there are men here that feel that you are that way. Like, yeah, he could have worded it differently, but I wouldn't be like that mad at him because he said with the men, like, he doing what he has to do as part of the show. But yeah, he could have worded it differently. I see that part too. He could have, you know, covered her in definitely a much better way. I can see that side too. So anyway, so then the next day or later, I don't know when it was, y'all. We do see the men are fishing. It's Quentin, Phil, and Chris are fishing. Quentin said he hadn't been fishing since he was a little boy and he's allergic to seafood, so he don't even know why he out there. Phil said he hasn't been fishing since he was 25 years old. Chris looked like he kind of know what he's doing. Maurier came out there. I think Maurier knows how to fish. And so Maurier was trying to help them. Quentin messing up stuff, robbing stuff. They tangling up the lines. Then Lee and Kat came out there as well. I don't think Jessica came out there though. And so Quentin ends up catching some little goldfish, okay? And so Lee was like saying, like, you know, it's good, Quentin got a fish in the end. Like, it's not how you start up, it's how you finish and you make a comeback, okay? She liked that. So then they're trying to get Phil to take it off the hook, but Lee was like, Phil can't do it. She attempted to take it off the hook. Then Auntie Janelle came out the house with her moo on, talking about, hey babe, you caught you a fish. Yeah, babe, you know how I do. Okay, yeah, we gonna be eating good tonight. I said, Auntie Janelle, please take your moo back in the house, okay, and get ready to cook that fish that y'all can't even eat. Okay, girl, why you come out the house hollering like that? And your Medea moo, you need to go. No, Janelle doing too much. Lee, she made a face. Lee was over it, okay? Lee said, she can't even really have much of a connection with Quentin. It's kind of blurry because Janelle got him real hooked in and she being real territorial with it all, okay? So then I'm like, girl, you wasn't even outside fishing, Janelle. Anyway, Chris steals Jessica away. He bought her some sandals because he likes the fact that she, has these conversations with him and open his mind to other things and help him see things in a different way. Okay, whatever. He bought her some slides, y'all. So she was happy for the slides. Then later on at night, we see everybody kind of gathering around. And Maurier does pull Janelle aside to apologize to her. And he said he should have worded it much differently. And he did poorly with that. And he did say sorry. She said the thing is like she's never had that experience with anybody in the house. So she doesn't know where that came from. And she's like, it is what it is. Like, I have to move forward. I hope people can see, like, that is not the core of me. And she's like, I don't wish no hard feelings against you, Maurier. We're going to just keep it pushing forward. I got to rewind because I did skip the scenes. After the men were talking to Maurier and cheering him up, at the same time, actually, Janelle and Jessica were outside. And Janelle brought Jessica some ice to, comfort her or whatever. And Janelle said, it's 2 infractions. One thing that the word combative was said, and then it was repeated by Maurier. Jessica's thing is she know that Chris said it, and she's just glad she saw the real Chris, and she knows that, she's glad that their connection ended quickly. And she said, that's that on that, and she doesn't speak ill of the dead. I was like, ooh, dang. That's what she said in her confessional. And then Janelle asked her about Maurier. She said she feels like she can't trust anybody. She doesn't like the fact that Maurier repeated it and that hurt her as well. Okay, which, like I said, I understand both sides. So anyway, back to where we were. Like I said, Maurier did apologize to Jessica. So that was pretty much it for the house. They packed their stuff. They left the next day. Okay. So then everybody gets back down to town, down to the Dallas, right? And so we see Kat and Maurier go on a date, I believe. And Kat is saying, she doesn't care. I don't even know how the topic came up, but if someone's into more spirituality or religious, or they don't know where they want to be, she supports them in whatever they want to do. So Mario's like, oh, so glad you said that. So then he pull out his crystals, y'all. He got amethyst, talking about that's a stone of a woman that helped him keep grounded, and some grenadine and whatever he had, okay? I don't think grenadine is a stone. I don't know what those stones is called. I don't get into the crystals and the stones of it all. I have no problem with people who do. It's just not my thing. Like, what does that stuff mean? What is it going to do either way for you is my belief with the stones and the crystals. But if you guys, know more about it and you can enlighten me in the comments, I'm totally open to, learn about it. But I'm just not into all that, okay? So anyway, they talk about how they got this strong spiritual connection. He asked what things could be a deal breaker for her, and she said she gets sad when she can't be traveling because there's so much to see in the world. He said he's trying to get dual citizenship in Mali. He wants to actually live there, but he got to wait 9 to 10 years. I'm assuming till his kid is grown, and then he wants to do that. She said she never thought about doing that, but she likes where they are. She said in her confession that Maurier is checking off all her other boxes. And I'm like, girl, since when? No, Kat and Maurier are not a match. They're not. We can stop playing. Anyway, nobody's a match, but let's just play along, okay? So anyway, then we see Janelle and Quentin go on a date, and they talking about they haven't talked much since the Getaway. And I was like, well, I thought y'all was talking every day, according to Janelle, for hours and hours and hours. Ordering champagne towers, like what? Anyway, so they talking, and they talking about they don't have the issues that the other couples have and all this stuff, and he wants to know how she deals with dealing with conflict within relationships. I was like, you didn't see her fussing and fighting down to the Getaway with Kat? That's how she deal with conflict. But Janelle said that she likes to be told and communicated clearly with examples, like tell her exactly what she did, give her examples. He was like, oh, okay, you want the receipts? And she's like, yeah, so she could take accountability and learn from what she did. But you're not going to take accountability, Janelle. So what are you saying? Girl, bye. So anyway, Quentin said one thing he had to deal with the past is that last relationship, the girl didn't really appreciate him. She didn't really say, I love you like that. He felt like he was doing everything for her. She wasn't appreciating it. So Janelle said her past relationships, they would say that she struggled with affection. Knew that. And she said, but lately she hasn't had that issue. So he told me he don't want to be down to the aisle on wedding day and talking about I like you instead of love you. Okay, so they still, playing on our TV screen. Okay, so Janelle and Quentin. He do act like he like her a lot. The connection makes no sense to me, but he act like he like her a lot. They're both giving let's make it to the end. Then we do see a date between Aries and Phil. And they talk about the getaway, and Aries like the fact that Phil made the intention to spend time with her, and he said, I can make you feel great and spend time with you without smothering you, which I think he did, well, what we were showing on camera, right? And so she said, he asked her what she was thinking, because she does overthink things, and she said she does, and she's been thinking about the fact that, they definitely like each other, there's sparks there, however, they're not 23 anymore, they both got kids and family, and finances got to be in order and all that. And so she asked, was this a good time for a relationship for him? And he said, if you would have asked him 4 months ago, no, but now everything's good. And he said in his confessional that he lost his father and then back to back lost his stepfather. So he's going through some things, had a healing journey. They played the flashback of what he said about his job situation. And so he said now when it comes to his career and all that, he's ready to move forward and work and all that. And he wants a partner he can build with, okay? It's giving production's trying to paint Phil as being a little dusty is what it's giving. I gotta backtrack one more time. Speaking of that, one of the last scenes we saw before they left the getaway is that Chris and Aries went on a little date, and he was showing her how to do some archery, right? And so he was talking about, he was walking her down the hill, and she's like, oh, I can follow. They're trying to play into the whole Jessica thing. So anyway, he was like, oh yeah, something he didn't put on it, he wants her to fill it out. And so Chris said, and Daddy wasn't really talking about nothing. She was saying she's not sure how serious Chris is about moving forward with her. I think Chris is just playing the game to be in the game, like all of y'all doing. But Chris did say in his confessional that even though he sees that Aries has a strong connection with Phil, he feels like she could give her more of the life that she would want. And I think it was basically him saying that he got more money than Phil. That's what everything's giving. But Phil does give real regular guy, and I don't have a problem with that, As long as he can afford to take you out to dinner, Aries, and he can provide and take care of you and your son, or your sons, boys, whatever you got going on, then that's fine. He ain't got to be a millionaire or nothing, but Phil did kind of explain his job situation a few weeks ago, so hopefully he ain't, on the struggle bus or nothing. We can see the topic's going to come up again next week, though, so we shall see. I think they're just trying to give us anticipation and see who she going to choose. She going to choose Phil. Anyway. So, yeah, they had their date about that. So then, I think that was everything that happened, and then we get down to the women's lounge. So nephew Tommy asked about the getaway, who's making a connection with who. For Janelle, still quitting. Jessica said Maurier good. He's like, did nephew Tommy asked anything change with the getaway? And she said no, her Maurier still good, we solid. But I was like, girl, I thought you was mad at Maurier for relaying the combative message. What happened? Aries said it's feel for her. Chris is still in there, but it's feel for her. Lee said, she was trying to make a connection with Quentin this whole time, but, Janelle was, not really letting it happen. Janelle said she's going to be on her best behavior this elimination because she don't want them to eliminate Quentin. And you could tell she was fighting to say so many things. She did say in her confessional that if Lee got the vibe that, Quentin was all her, she's glad she received the message. So Lee said she did get a connection with Chris going. That's kind of unexpected. And he bought her some sandals, okay? Nephew Tommy was like, oh, did he buy anybody else sandals? And Jessica's like, you being messy, because Jessica was looking over it. Kat said she was trying to make a connection with Chris, but I think she realized that ain't gonna happen, but she's now got this connection with Maurier that's out the blue. Okay. Okay, so then nephew Tommy said, okay, who y'all not feeling? Immediately, Jessica says Chris. Okay, so this one got a little heated, just a little bit. Not as heated as it got at the end though, right? So then she said, yeah, I didn't like, the what was said and the deliberation and the verbiage and the language that was used about me being combative and all that. She felt like, that was just irresponsible. It was wrong. She was using all her big words. She was delivering her report. Y'all know how Jessica do. She's very professional, okay? So, Then the other girls on the side, which I don't know why they were doing that, except maybe they wanted Chris to stay on the show as their other connection. But Aries, Lee, and Kat on the side talking about, oh, well, he said he didn't say that. He said he didn't say that. And so Jessica's thing is like, oh, he definitely said it. And Lee was like, he said he distinctly did not say those words. And then Aries gonna say, and anyway, Maurier didn't, if he did say Maurier didn't have to repeat it, he could have said it in a different way. Now, why are we capping for Chris this hard? Caping for Chris so hard? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I guess they just want their connection. So, then Jessica's thing is like, the thing is, I know, you know, all the men said they didn't say, but I know Chris is the one that said it because he said it on the date with the ex, which he did. He did say it, and he said it other times as well. And so she's like, she doesn't, you know, understand where he's getting that from. She has to argue with nobody on the show. She had no problem with nobody on the show. And so she said, you know, he's a liar, and she doesn't like the fact that, you know, he playing and saying all these comments about her, and she don't understand that. And she was like, and frankly, he can't buy me no gift, and that's the gotcha. So then Lee was like, wait a minute, girl, like, what you talking about? Like, are you saying because he bought me a gift, and like, are you throwing shade? Like, what's the true tea? And so then she was like, girl, this gonna have nothing to do with you. Like, don't even do that. And so then Lee was like, but you saying it like he can't buy you a gift, but he bought me a gift, so it's giving you throwing shit at me, so what's good? And so then Jessica was like, no, the thing is, Chris said out his mouth that he wishes he had the connection with me that Maurier has with me. And so I'm okay with, like, if that's how he experienced me, but for him to be shifty like that, that's the problem she has with him. Also, Kat, earlier in the episode, I forgot to mention this as well. Kat, when the whole thing, combative thing first came up early in the episode, Kat was talking about, oh, in her confession, like, oh, I don't know why we can't use the word combative. Like, if that's how you really are, we need to talk about it. Maybe you need to fix your attitude. Let me say this, okay, about Miss Jessica, okay? I have no problem with Jessica. I think Jessica is very professional. Yeah, birds of a feather flock together with the Janelle thing, so I think she is getting grouped into being a mean girl with Janelle, and we've seen that play out a little bit. It's mostly Janelle, though. But I will say Jessica has not been combative. Now, that's one thing I can for sure say. I haven't seen on the show her come across as combative. She's very no nonsense. She like she don't play. She like it's business all day, but she definitely has not come off combative, okay? She always kind of speaks to me like she's giving a report. That's how she always sounds to me. But she hasn't come off as combative at all. So, and also, I don't think she like nobody there. And her man ain't there, so it's fine. But she hasn't come off combative. And so I think Chris's perception of her is dead wrong. So then, like I said, back to the fight. So Jessica is telling Lee, so Lee's thing is like, okay, but if he had a bad experience with you so Nephew Tommy asked, let me back up. Nephew Tommy asked, have you had that experience with him, Lee? And Lee said, no, I haven't had that experience with him. Like, if I did, we wouldn't be moving forward. And she's like, that's the thing. Like, if he's had this experience with you and he's shifted, then why can't he say that? And so Jessica's thing is, the thing I don't like is that he's in your, he saying he wants this one thing and then he's shifting somewhere else and then telling you, but then saying these slick comments on the side. I don't like that. And so Lee was like, well, if that's how he experienced you, then how's that a slick comment? Jessica was like, you know what, every time this is move on because the girls are just not getting it. Here's too much for them to understand. And so then Lee made some comment like, we can understand whatever. And so Lee said her confessional, she don't, Jessica, something about a comment she made about Jessica. I don't remember what it was. It really don't matter. Lee and Chris are not a match for me as well. Okay, but he went home, so it ain't gonna matter. Anyway, Maurier was in the bottom as well. I think Cass had Quentin's name also. Okay, so the ladies got to take the men out to decide who's ready to love. Okay, so this is when it got cray going. This is when Chris gonna show his whole behind. Okay, his whole behind. Both the Chris's was problematic this season. Okay. Now, this Chris, I think he might have been worse than David, okay? He didn't get ahead of the enemy like David did in Houston. So, Aries takes out Maurier, and Jessica takes out Chris. Let's just get Aries and Maurier out the way first. Maurier did dress up for this date, and I was proud of him, okay? Let's give him his credit where it's due, because we know Maurier ain't been dressed for no date. He looked like he rolled out of bed at 12 o'clock like he said he'd do. Side note, y'all, Maurier was replying to my tweets on Twitter last week talking about, oh, he's an entrepreneur. He can get up anytime he wants. He didn't own all these businesses since 2013 and all the lies on the show. And I'm just kind of tired. Let me just take this moment to rant to y'all. I love when the Ready Love cast replies and they engage with us and we're fans and that's all good. And we're critiquing them. So I know it's sensitive for them. It's vulnerable for them. However, they did decide to do the show. And if I was doing a show, I'm going to get critiqued. We even get critiqued as YouTubers, right? But I just get tired of people, anything you say, they got to say, oh, well, this is because this and this happened. Oh, this is because of edit. This is this and this. Like, that's how Janelle's whole fight with Kat started, because people talked about her face when Kat came into the first ladies' lounge she came in. Like, we don't need an explanation for everything that happens on the show. Like, we just having jokes. You know, at the end of the day, it's just jokes. It's not that serious. We're just commentating on the show. We can see how you really are in the interviews later, you know, but every single thing that happens, we don't need you to explain it to us. It's fine. And if some of y'all fans be worse than the people who went through it, okay? Anyway, like I said, Maurier went on a date with Aries. Aries said she couldn't get up out that chair, okay? But she had her all black on. Maurier's like, is this a funeral? And so Aries is like, you know, your name came up, the ladies deliberated. It definitely was about the getaway, and, you know, the verbiage that was used. Maurier said he wished he didn't have to be the one to give the news. And I wonder if, like, Quentin or Phil would have said it, would have hit different. I do wonder that. And I imagine maybe it would have. So he said, I wish I would have used different verbiage. I definitely hate that I didn't. Aries said he's also feeling like a friend zone. I've gotten friend zone from Maurier this whole time. Okay, so that's why I don't see no connection there. Anyway, she said, ultimately, though, you are still ready to love. So Maurier is happy that he's there to see another day, and he got to show the ladies more than his romantic side. Okay. Anyway, now let's get to Chris and Jessica, y'all. This is where it got real good. So, Jessica, first of all, Chris and Jessica gave each other a little side hug. You could tell neither one of them wanted to be there. Now, in my opinion, they should have been had this conversation because things have boiled up so much for them, because we could see where they first really liked each other. She paraded him down at the hold down. And then when things fell apart, where he felt like she needed to be more soft and all that, in my opinion, they should have been had a conversation to kind of wrap it up. I don't think this should have been the conversation they had. Now, if they had one, we didn't see it, that's another thing. Anyway, she said, you know, they're talking about the getaway. He felt like it was much needed. You know, he said people, you know, when they show you who you are, that's what it is. I'm like, okay, Chris. So then Jessica said, you know, me and you, we connected in the beginning, and then we kind of lost connection, and, you know, that's where we're at now. And she was talking about how, you know, Chris said basically like, you know, the thing is like, you were one, she was like, well, how do you feel about that? That's what she said. How do you feel about that? And he's like, well, I already said what it was. I told you I need someone more softer. And he said, I see when you're softer with this other person, talking about Maurier, but then you're not with me. Then I'm like, okay, cool. Then I got to choose, you know, to keep it moving and things like that. And that's what it is. And so then Jessica said, okay, well, the ladies liberated. We talked about the getaway and everything that came up with the word combative. And so she was like, it was disrespectful. It was not right. It was not a clear indication of who I am. You know, she was reading off her bullet point PowerPoint like she always do, right? And so then she said, but ultimately the ladies feel that you are not ready to love. So then he was like, okay. So he was like, I didn't say you were combative. I think he said, I don't know if he said I said it or I didn't say it, but anyway, he was like, you have been doing this, you've been combative. Then he said she was combative. So anyway, basically he said she was combative, okay? And so I was like, first of all, you telling on yourself, because she was talking about combative, but then she said you're not ready to love. Now, unless it was sliced and diced wrong, he admittedly burst out, I didn't say you was combative, like, but you did. But then later on, 2 seconds later, you say you said it. So you said it. Oh my gosh. So then, y'all, they get into a whole back and forth, but it was mainly him, because Jessica was sitting across calm. She never escalated. He was escalated the whole time. She never escalated, which shows she's not combative. Okay, she never got into it as he got into it. Okay, so he was like, you know, you have this thing against me. You and Jessica are both mean girls. You guys are both combative. You guys try to act like you think you know something, but you don't know. And Jessica was like, I think that you're upset about something that has nothing to do with me. And I'm not sure what you're talking about. And so then he was like, oh, come on, you already know what it is. You know, you're scared around it. Like, you're upset because I was connected with you at first, but then I saw how effed up, I think he said effed up, and they blurred it out. I saw how effed up of a person you were, and so I decided to move on. And so she was like, her face was like what? And I was like, what? And so then he was like, yeah, you know, you trying to say this and do that. And so she was like, what are you talking about? And so he was like, I don't really care anyway. You think you know me, but you don't know nothing about me. He's like, F you, and for like, F this, all this, and you forget this. And it's like, he just started cursing and going off and said, F her, and F everything she stands for, and all this stuff. And so, and then he walked off. And so he was like, at the end of the, let me back up. He was like, at the end of the day, I'm still a man. And you know, you're gonna respect me as a man, and I've been respectful to you as a woman, and I'm tired of this and all this stuff. And then that's when he was like, F you, and cursing her out, and he walked away. And y'all, when they played that dramatic music, when he started talking and said, I didn't say you was combative, I was hollering. I was like, you ready to love? Gonna play some dramatic music. If they don't do nothing else, they do it down to the Love of Mary Huntsville as well. So then anyway, confessional, Jessica says she's glad she saw Chris's true colors, and she did. He wanted to storm off and curse and all that. That's on him. Yeah, bye, Chris. You needed to leave. All that cursing was unnecessary just because she said you're not ready to love. Like, why are you doing all this? Like, where is all this energy coming from? Now then, when I really paid attention and watched it a few more times before I got on this review, and the fact that he brought up Janelle, and the fact that Jessica was saying, like, Jessica seemed like she was not saying something, right? Like she knew something, but she wasn't going to say it on camera, right? And it felt like he was talking about something else, right? And I started thinking back to that live that Janelle did, that we all know about, that came out towards the beginning of this season. And I believe she mentioned some, you know, homosexual allegations about cast members on the show. And I do remember everyone was saying it could possibly be Chris, allegedly, okay? I'm not saying he is or isn't, but for me, this conversation was tied to that. To whatever Janelle was saying in the live, this conversation was tied to that for me. Let me know if y'all agree with that in the comments or not, but I feel like there was something, like another issue that they were kind of talking about, but they weren't saying it on camera. And I feel like that's what he was alluding to, especially bringing Jessica into it. But y'all let me know what y'all think about that in the comments. Anyway, Chris is gone. Next week we see, I think the men are going to introduce the women to their family. And I just can't wait to get to the end of this season. I'm really ready to get down to the reunion. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all thought of the episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.